All right, tubers. Let me adjust my glasses here. Madame Roy back once again. I'm going to read a statement right here, and you guys can feel free to comment later on when you guys see this in post production. Um, as my fitness goals start to focus more on bicycle riding, I am increasingly becoming very concerned at the lack of respect that drivers have for cyclists. The road needs to be a place that everyone feels safe, and both bicycle riders and people driving cars and or trucks can share without any aggressive actions from either party toward either party. Now, let me elaborate a little bit on why I'm writing this. As most of you know by now, I've been on a fitness journey for a long time. It's been over 2 years now. And for the majority of that fitness journey, I have walked. And when I say walked, it's mainly been power walking, walking over like the 2.5 to 3 mile per hour range, and getting in about 10 miles a day. Well, my body has gotten used to the fact that I'm walking, and I have pretty much plateaued in my weight loss journey right at about 220 pounds. So I've recently decided to start bike riding or cycling, BMX bike riding, whatever you call it. It's basically just using a bicycle, not motorized, pedaling, to try to help boost my metabolism and get a much better workout going. And it actually has helped quite a bit. Not only have I gained more muscle in my legs, specifically my calves and my quads, but I've noticed that my mood has been a lot better. And I think, again, a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was really just doing the same thing over and over again, and my body had just gotten used to it. I'll digress on that point. Recently, when I've been bicycling or cycling, whatever you want to call it, I have been going out on some of the main roads. We have what's called B roads, C roads, and A roads. A C road is usually like an old farm road. It's usually dirt or gravel, and we really don't have too many of those. A B road is something like what I live on. It's a suburban road, usually just wide enough for two cars, and is paved. And those are what I've been really sticking to mostly. And then A roads are the main roads. Usually they have names, but sometimes they'll just have numbers like Route 17, Route 55, Route 60, something like that. Usually they're 4 lanes, 2 for each direction. And those are the ones that I've been mainly concerned about. There's one of those roads right out, literally about a quarter of a mile from my house. And that's where the problems have really started to come into play. Very recently, since I have actually been using those roads, I've noticed that drivers have little to really no respect for people riding bicycles. I'll point you to an incident that happened to me today. I was riding down that road that was very, very close to my house, and a truck had actually, there's 2 lanes each way. So the truck was in the right lane, which is the lane that I was in. Of course, I'm going to be in that lane because that's going to be the slow lane. And the truck was actually coming up behind me, and he had plenty of room. He actually had room to go into the other lane. Up until that point, that's what most cars were doing. If they were behind me in the slow lane, they were merging to the left, going straight. And excuse me for a second. I don't know who that is. And they would actually go into the other lane. Well, what has actually happened was this truck came behind me and refused to get over. I mean, totally refused to move over, even though we could. And he came behind me and started honking his horn really loudly. And then he started yelling at me. He's like, "Get off the road! You don't belong on the road!" And unfortunately, this has not been an isolated incident. This has actually happened many times with many different vehicles that I have encountered on these A roads. And this is not safe for anybody. And I've actually done a little bit of probing. I've asked some family and friends. I've asked people on YouTube, hey, if you're bike riders or cyclists, have you had this problem? And quite a few people have told me that they have. And it's something that is very disconcerting because as our society gets more and more fitness conscious, there are a lot more people that are going to be bicycling on the road. They're going to be taking their bikes out, and they're not going to be satisfied with sticking to the B roads or the C roads, the back roads. They're going to venture out, and they're going to want to feel safe traveling these main thoroughfares, and they should. As a matter of fact, in my area, most of these A roads have signs that have pictures of bicycles, and they have either behind the bicycle is a I, which basically means look out for bicycles, or the other ones just have a picture of a bicycle, and it actually says underneath, share the road. And that is actually a law. As a matter of fact, if a cop saw him do that to me, the cop could pull him over and give him a ticket for reckless driving. Believe it or not, in my area, that is considered reckless driving. And this is not going to be a really long live stream. This is just something that has really gotten my goat recently. I know that's kind of an old term, but it's really gotten me aggravated. Why in the world do you, the driver of a car, think you have the right to say, I can't be on that road as a bicycle rider? I think of it as the other way. Yes, I realize that these roads are mainly designed for cars, but they're also made for people to ride bicycles. And if you're in the slower, less safe vehicle, those drivers, in my opinion, have an obligation to look out for you. Now, does that mean that as a bicycle rider, you should be reckless? No. As a bicycle rider, you need to be conscious as well. You need to stay as far to the right in the right-hand lane as you possibly can. If you hear a car coming behind you, it's not a bad idea to just turn around, look, and make sure that they're going to clear you properly. There are things you can do to increase the likelihood that you won't get into an accident. But I want to hear from you guys. We got 5 watchers right now. Let me know if you guys have had any issues riding bicycles on the main thoroughfares. I'm going to go ahead and grab my cell phone real quick, because I think somebody's really trying to get a hold of me right now, and I'm not sure who it is. Wow. Okay. I'll tell you guys about that one later. That's actually really surprising. That's one of my exes that's actually trying to get a hold of me. But let's see. We got 6 watchers here and 3 likes. Thank you guys so much for giving me the likes. I really appreciate it. And again, this is not something that I really prepared for or planned as much as I probably should have. Again, I did some research. But the gist of this is there are so many people out there that are ignorant to what bicycle riders need, and they need to feel safe on the roads. Let me go ahead and go to the comments here real quick. Robert Jones says, Matt, where I live, there's a law. I'm not surprised. There are laws here too, and in my area at least, cars have to safely share the road with the bicycle riders. And again, if that truck had hit me, even the aggressive stance that it was actually the passenger, believe it or not, that actually yelled at me. That aggressive stance that he took, if a cop saw that, he could have been ticketed and or even arrested for that, believe it or not. Chet Belay says, sadly, we had a family friend pass away earlier this year to a hit and run that occurred on Lakeside Drive in York County. The family friend was riding a bike, and it was a 3-lane wide road, hit and run. Again, I am not surprised. This has been a major problem. And just looking at that, this was a 3-lane road. So basically, I'm assuming it was 3 lanes each way. There is no reason that the cars could not move over to that 2nd or 3rd lane. And if for some reason they couldn't, let's just say for argument's sake that 2nd and 3rd lane were totally congested, that car could wait, just slow down until he had a safe opportunity to move over and pass the bicycle rider. But unfortunately, nowadays, people are in just too much of a hurry to get pretty much nowhere, honestly. I mean, there's really nowhere you have to get that would justify you putting a bicycle rider's life in jeopardy or a walker's life in jeopardy. It's just, there isn't. There's no place that's worth it. Even if you were late for work and you lost your job, it would be worth it losing your job to save that person's life. I don't care if how important you think you are. It's not worth a person's life. Chipole said, thank you for spreading this message, Matt. Bikers deserve safety and deserve people's attention when they are driving. Amen, brother. Absolutely. Evan Kioke says, remember your safety hand signs as a bicycle rider. Oh, yes, I know my hand signs. The problem with that is when you're riding on a main road, even those are designed for when you're turning. Basically, I don't know if I got it right. I think right turn is like this, and then left turn is your hand up. But when you're riding straight on a road, you really shouldn't need to sign anything at all. Honestly, your hands need to be on those handlebars. You need to be concentrating on what you're doing. And again, it is the responsibility of the driver of that automobile to get out of your way. I would say probably in a good 80 to 90% of the United States, that is the actual law, believe it or not. Now, there might be some states, very rural areas, and maybe some states that don't have that law, but at least in here in the Commonwealth of Virginia, that is the law. They need to watch out for bicycle riders and people walking. I mean, pedestrians have the right of way. There's like a pecking order, if you will, on who has the right of way. It starts with pedestrians, and of course, people that are handicapped take priority in that. But pedestrians, bicycle riders, and then you have people driving, riding motor vehicles. We're talking anything motorized. We're talking about motorcycles, mopeds, and then, of course, your automobiles. Thank you, Chet. We have a $10 super chat from Chet Belay, and I'm going to read this. He said, thank you again for spreading this message. Hopefully this will help increase biker awareness. Thanks for being an inspiration and a community leader. Keep it up. And yes, I will be posting this again. As a matter of fact, I need to go ahead and do that real quick. I am not the greatest when it comes to preparation of videos. You guys know that. I do the best I possibly can. So let's see what we can do here. Let me see if this will work real quick. Fetching preview. No, it's not going to let me do it right now. Can we share? Can we share from here? Yep, right there we go. I'm going to repost this on Facebook. Robert Jones says, the law states that a person could be 99.99% at fault, but if you contribute that 0.1, you're at fault for the accident riding a bike. Very interesting. So basically what he's saying is, even if you are technically 99.99% in the right, if you contribute just a little bit of fault, then the law would be, I guess, on the automobile side. I'm not sure about that. I'd have to look that up more. I'm not 100% sure on that. Again, in my area, that would not be the case. In my area, they would almost always side with the bicycle rider or the cyclist. There we go. I don't know how you guys are doing with your allergies, but mine are kicking my butt at the moment. I'm telling you, it has been one crazy year for allergies. Everybody's trying to get a hold of me right now. Come on. There we go. No, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Got 7 watchers and 4 likes. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. And chat, I really appreciate that $10 super chat. That'll definitely go to help me make some more interesting videos. Evan Kioke says, here in California, we have new paved thoroughfares, have a green dedicated bike lane. Yes, I have actually seen that. I watched Stanley Roberts of Cron 4 News on YouTube. He's one of the news reporters in the San Francisco area. I can't remember the other. I know it's San Francisco, but I think he covers the area across the bay too. One of you guys will be able to tell me the name of that. I can't remember it, but anyway, I remember him covering that about a year ago. They were just installing those, and they're basically like dedicated lanes for bikes. Now, in my area of Virginia, we have them somewhat. We are in the process of doing what's called the Rail to Trails project. A lot of the old railroad tracks that aren't being used in our area anymore are being turned into walking and bike paths. And it's a great thing. As a matter of fact, by my house is that Suffolk Seaboard Coastline Trail. And that trail right now is about 4 miles each way. So it's not really that long, but at least it gives people a taste of what can happen. And eventually they're going to take that trail all the way from the downtown Suffolk area all the way to Virginia Beach. So basically it's going to be like a 30-mile trail. And at one point you'll actually have to cross the Elizabeth River. You'll actually have to go over a ferry from the Portsmouth to the Norfolk side. They are doing things to help. They have that, which is really slow to come to fruition. But they also have the bike lanes on some of the A roads, but they're not a lot of them, and the ones that they have are not complete. Like some of the A roads right near where my house is, unfortunately, the bike lanes only encompass maybe 10 to 20% of the road. So until that happens, until the infrastructure is built up to the point where the bicycle riders have their own lanes for pretty much everything, that we really need to be careful as motorists in motorized vehicles of watching out for people riding bicycles and giving them the respect that they deserve. When I'm driving down one of these roads and I see a bicycle rider, I don't care if he or she is someone who looks like they're a serious cyclist, like they go on marathons like Lance Armstrong, or it's just a family out there. I give them respect because at the end of the day, they're doing something that they enjoy and they're getting exercise in the process. That's really boils it down to as simple as terms as you can get. Chipolay said, "You're doing great things, man. I'm always happy to support those who support and help out others." And that's very important in life. We don't have enough support for individuals, for families, for anybody anymore. People a lot of times seem to be out for themselves, and that is a very selfish attitude. And that's really, unfortunately, what's happening in this country right now. Everybody's out for themselves, and that just kind of goes to show you. But you can make a change. Believe me, you can make a change. You can plant that seed and it will grow. It will grow and blossom and sprout wings and hopefully fly. And it's contagious. I'm telling you, kindness is contagious. Robert Jones says, "Against the bike rider, this happened to me." Okay. Yeah, everybody has their own story, and there are always two sides to every story. I was always told that ever since I was a little kid. That's why I never wanted to, well, I shouldn't say that. When I was very young, I kind of glamorized police officers, thinking it was so glamorous. They had the power to do anything. They must feel so important. But you know what? Maybe they do to a point, but I would not wish that job on anybody. That is one of the most difficult jobs out there. As a police officer, you have to look at all sides. And if you make the wrong call, then you could potentially hurt somebody's life. I mean, it's amazing. It absolutely amazes me day in and day out what they do. And do they mess up sometimes? Yeah, but they're human beings just like us. They're doing the absolute best they can. All right, tubers, that is it for this rant. We're kind of getting off topic right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And yes, I realize a lot of you are not going to see this live, but it will be re-uploaded in post-production, and you guys can always leave me a comment. So please continue to like and subscribe. And as always, have a blessed day, everybody.